And then I remember my main discussion in the last class was going around only and only one important topic, and this important topic was the calculation of n factor, right? And after that, I remember I had written a particular equation which was, let's say, A times A, and if this A times A is going to react with B times B, it was going to form C times C plus D times D, right? So I already told you people that if it's a balanced chemical equation and if you want to talk about the number of moles, then you can simply write the A moles of A will be combining with B moles of B, and this will lead to the formation of C moles of C, and correspondingly D moles of D will be formed, right? So this was what when we discussed, like when we were having the case of stoichiometric coefficient, when we were dealing in the terms of number of moles, right? But suppose I had written another chemical equation which is just A plus B to form C plus D. There must be some stoichiometric coefficients, but right now I have not balanced the chemical equation. That means right now I am not aware of what will be the values of stoichiometric coefficients in case they will be there. So in that particular case, I told you that you need to simply say the number of equivalents of A which are taking part in the reaction could be simply equated to the number of equivalents of B which are taking part in the reaction. This will simply be equated to the number of equivalents of C which will be produced in the reaction, and this could also be equated to the number of equivalents of D which will be produced in the reaction. Okay. One another thing, don't get confused that ma'am, this equivalent concept could be used only and only when the reaction is not balanced or what? No. The equivalent concept is a universal concept and you can use it any way around whether the reaction is a balanced chemical equation or an unbalanced chemical equation. Okay. So if let us say this reaction is balanced and if we need to talk about the number of equivalents, then also I'll say the number of equivalents of A which are used up in the reaction will be equal to the number of equivalents of B which will further be used up in the reaction. This could be equal to the number of equivalents of C which will be equal to number of equivalents of D. That means when I will be talking in the case of equivalence, I will say that I will never say that A, B, C, D. No, there is no point of using stoichiometric coefficient when you are talking in the case of the total number of equivalents. Okay. So we said that if you know what is the n factor and if you know what is the number of moles, so you can simply use the formula. So number of equivalents is number of moles into n factor. So if number of moles is known and if you already have an idea of the n factor, you can easily calculate the value of number of equivalents, right? So this was the entire discussion we had been having in our last class. Now we need to continue with a new topic, or not continue. So now we actually need to start with a new topic, and the new topic that we will be starting today is something known as redox titrations. Right now I have just written redox reactions. Now I'll be doing something known as redox titrations. Now what is redox titration? I'll let you know in a minute. So just give me a second to clean the board. Okay. So see, what do we mean by the topic redox titrations. So if I do not talk about redox titrations, let's say if I'm just talking in details about what is titration, then you know, right, titration is a volumetric analysis method with the help of which you will be able to figure out what is the concentration, like what is the molarity or what is the normality of a particular substance which will be treated with another substance, right? For example, if I do this experiment let's say I have taken NaOH in a container. Okay, so I have taken NaOH in a container, or let us say I have taken HCl in a container. So this is just a random experiment I am doing. So I have taken HCl in a container, okay, and what is the molarity of HCl, which is given to me as 0.5 molar, and I have taken 25 ml of that particular HCl, okay. So this is there in this container. Now we know, let us say we are doing the titration of HCl with NaOH. And why do we need to do the titration with NaOH? Because my aim is, so this we have NaOH solution. I actually don't know what is the molarity of NaOH. I want you to figure out what is the concentration of NaOH, okay. So what you do, you will add a small drop of phenolphthalein or very small amount of phenolphthalein in the HCl container. It will be colorless. Then you will start adding NaOH from outside. So you keep on adding NaOH till the time you will get a slightest pinkish color in the solution. And when you get the slightest pinkish color in the solution, you say that the whole NaOH will be like the whole amount of HCl which was available in the container has been totally titrated with the NaOH, right? And then what we say? We simply say, now if I write down the reaction, HCl combines with NaOH leading to the formation of NaCl plus water, right? So what do you say? You say that, ma'am, 1 mole of HCl will combine with NaOH equal to 1 mole. So 1 mole of HCl will combine with 1 mole of NaOH, right? And then we say that if n moles of HCl are there, then n moles of NaOH will be used up. Okay, so we then know what is like number of moles. It can be written as molarity into volume. So we write m into V of HCl, and this could be taken as m into V of NaOH. This you know how much of NaOH would have been used up. For example, let's say when you did the titration, you got 50 ml of NaOH has been used up for titration. So once you know all the 3 terms, you can easily calculate the value of this 4th term, which is molarity, right? So, so what actually titration is? Titration is just a volumetric analysis kind of experiment, with the help of which I can figure out the concentration of any unknown substance by treating it with some another substance whose concentration is well known to us, and a given fixed given volume will be using. Fine. Now this thing we have done, like whatever example I have written on board, this is something related to the acid base titration. So this has got something related to the acid base titration. But now what I need to do today is something related to redox titration. So see here. So we need to move on to redox titrations. Okay. So when I am talking about redox titrations, then this is for sure when one substance will be mixed to another substance, then on mixing the two, there will be a redox reaction taking place. So like here only HCl was mixed with NaOH, so there was just acid base, a cation and anion exchange was taking place. But when we are doing redox titration, since it is titration, so the meaning of titration is exactly same. There is no difference in the meaning of titration. But here one more new thing will be added, that means a new redox reaction will be taking place. Okay, and all the titrations that we will be doing in general, which will be redox reactions or redox titrations, will be involving, for example, KMNO4 or K2Cr2O7 solution. Okay, so in general we will be doing the titrations involving KMNO4 and